Learners, this is about MGPE 013. This is about civil society, conflict, political regimes, and conflict. This unit deals largely with the concept of the civil society. What is the meaning of civil society? What is the meaning of political regimes? And how do they act? Is there any conflict between a civil society and a state? The first few pages, the first few sub-themes explains the theoretical framework of civil society. What constitutes the civil society? Who are the philosophers which had given these ideas? And it traces the political foundation or philosophical foundation from Plato to Aristotle to Gramsci to till today. So largely, sometimes the civil society is construed and misconstrued, and we think that NGO, the non-governmental organization, is the major component of the civil society. But it is only one part of the civil society. The canvas of the civil society is much larger, much bigger, and in which not merely the non-governmental organization comes, but media, the other professional institutes, individual freedom groups, religious groups, social groups, they all come under the umbrella of civil society. And that gives a beautiful, this lesson when you go through, very gradually it explains the fundamental meaning of civil society. Then it goes further to decipher the differences within the structure of the civil society. Then it moves on to the different plane of, in globalized world, the role of the civil society, the conflict between the civil society and the state. How does the civil society operate in an oppressive state? If there is a authoritarian regimes, if there is a police state, if there is a dictatorship, does the civil society exist? Largely you could see wherever there is a democracy, the civil society is much large, much stronger. But if there is no democracy in some of the countries, the role of the civil society becomes minimal. So in the globalized world, where there is a different theories are moving around, which is giving a different meaning, this lesson, this unit will give you a very wide range of perspective of understanding the historical paradigm of civil society, its role vis-a-vis with the state. At the same time, it also explains what are the major challenges before the civil society. How is it related to the individual liberty? There are different kind of groups which are emerging. You might have heard LGBT group which has emerged as a different community which has been acknowledged not only in the Western countries but in India also as a legitimate group. They've been given, the Supreme Court has given rights. So there is another groups of disability, the problems of the children, the problems of women, they all come under the same roof. And that is how they operate with their own interest within the structure of the civil society. So this lesson going through from one to another to another layer will empower you, will make you to understand dynamics, different dimensions of the civil society, and moreover, giving the Gandhian perspective in each of the unit that gives a leverage, that gives a benefit of how do you understand the role of the civil society. Sometimes the Gandhian concept are misunderstood and misinterpreted, whether it is the ahimsa, satyagraha and all. How did Gandhi visualize about all this movement, peace movement? In India and the world had seen different peace movement altogether. Are these all peace movement and Satya and Ahimsa Andolans are Gandhian? Not all movements are Gandhian. So that will give you a complete insight and eyes to understand the role of civil society against the state and how could it be made more forceful in a globalized world where the market is more oppressive. Sometimes a state is more oppressive, sometimes the market is more oppressive. In between, the civil liberty, which is the main operative part of the civil society, becomes weaker. So that is how this unit is an explanations, an academic insight for all of you to understand all these dynamics, which is very useful for all of you. Thank you.